Hi, this is a quick run through the module 4, which is again the relational model, but now about advanced topics. So we've created a database, we've got tables, we've got attributes on those tables, we may have figured out keys, we've got relationships between the different tables. What else do we need to do? Well, there's lots of stuff. Right, so one thing is the idea of views. Right, a view is a look on the database that doesn't show you everything in a table, or pulls together lots of information from different tables into a single presentation. Right. Sometimes that's nice for hiding secure information. You don't need to know it, but you do need to see some of the information in the table. So you can just remove a particular field from the view, or you might want to see, like I said, a view that contains information from multiple tables. Another thing you might want to do to a table or a database once you've created it is it might be slow. The queries that you do might be slow, the reports that you run might be slow, so you want to speed those up, and databases are good at that, depending on why it's slow. A way to increase speed is by adding an index to a particular field or group of fields. There's also a little bit in Module 4 about security. We haven't talked about security, and that's something we should go through in a bit more detail. A reason we use databases is to make sure the data is good. And one way databases help make sure the data is good is by adding integrity rules, data integrity rules, and enforcing those rules, right? So, for example, making sure that a particular numerical field is always positive, or that's an entity integrity constraint. Making sure there's referential integrity. If there is a field in a table that is a foreign key pointing to a primary key in another table, then if the value of that foreign key doesn't exist in the other table, that's a problem. Right? That says that the primary key doesn't exist in that table. So why is this foreign key here? So that's referential integrity. And then on top of referential integrity, you may want to have cascade options. When you update a key that is a primary key on one field and a foreign key on the other, you may want to make sure that that changed key gets propagated to all the other places, and that's a cascade. You may also want to do deletions and other operations that get cascaded across tables. And then legal values integrity as well. Here's some extra stuff just on changing the relational database. That's using the alter keyword. And then you can change the field properties, move it from a text to a binary perhaps, or some other changes to the types or the names of the field. You may want to delete a field, you may want to delete a table. We've talked a little bit about joins before, but there are different sorts of joins, left joins and right joins, and they do different things depending, and sometimes you want to do one and sometimes you want to do the other. Funnily enough, the database has its own database internally, and that's sometimes called the system catalog. And sometimes we want to interrogate that system catalog to find out information about the structure of the database we're using. Other things that are of interest: stored procedures and triggers. A stored procedure you can think of, if you've done programming in another language, a stored procedure is like a function. It's something you want to do lots and lots of times, and stored, but it's not really. It's a sequence of steps. It's an algorithm, and you can store that algorithm in the database. It's not a table, it's not an entity, it's not an attribute, but it may combine entities and attributes in and produce a result. And stored procedures are a way to do that. Sometimes, if you want to do updates based on data changing, and the one way of doing those updates based on data changing automatically is using what's called a trigger. Right? So for example, if you have a table that calculates the customer's total outstanding bill, and in a separate table you add a new invoice to that customer, you want that total outstanding bill number to be updated. And a way to do that would be as a trigger. So you do it automatically. You don't have to explicitly go off and update the customer's total. Okay, I'm not going to talk in detail about too many of these. I will quickly look at views, and we may look at referential integrity. Right, so creating and using views. Basically, a view is just a select, and it shows you something slightly different, right? Here we create a view as name list, and we just select first name and last name for employees, and that's it, right? It lets us create a new view, and I don't know whether we've got renters here. Right, so here's some renters, and maybe we want to create a new view. And can we do a create view? Maybe we can't. Yeah, not quite sure how we do a view in the graphical version, but this is the way we do it in SQL, right? Create view name list as select first name and last name. And then sometimes you may want to update. So if the query already exists, the view already exists, you can get it to be replaced if you want to. So we do a name list query. Okay, let's just try that, right? So let's do an, there we go. There's so customers. So let's do a new query, right? So new, query, there we go. And we'll go to the SQL view, and we'll select first name, last name, from customers. And now let's go to the datasheet view. Right, so there's a view, and The nice thing about views is you can still edit the data, right? I just changed Elian's name to Elian Test, and even though I can't see all of the other information about that, this view lets me see just the things I'm interested in, just the customer names. Okay, let's go back to here, and I just wanted to quickly look at referential integrity, right? And let's have a look at our tables, and I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to save that one, and we'll close these. Right, close those, and I want to see my relationships. Right, there's some relationships, and let's just double click on this one, and you'll see this one says has enforce referential integrity checked here, and it's between customers and umbrella, and it's by customer ID. Same here between customers and renters. There's another one here between claim rep num and claim rep number. Okay, so those all have enforced referential integrity. That means I can't have a customer ID in the claims table, in this instance, that doesn't already exist in the customers table as a customer ID. A customer ID in the claims table has to exist. Let's just see what happens. So where's the claims table? There's the claims table. And let's just make it a bit bigger so we can see things. Right, there's a customer ID, and let's just put in a customer ID of 1234 and R and this low 1 and 10. Right, I must enter a value in the claims ID. So let's go C0007. You cannot add or change a record because a related record is required in the table customers, right? So that's saying that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 customer ID doesn't yet exist in the table customers, and you see the maximum is 11052 in the customers table. If I did put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and I need to pick out a particular value, and let's just start that there. Right, so now that value is there, and I should be able to save it. And now it doesn't give me an error. That's what happens when you enforce referential integrity. Okay, that might do for a quick look at Module 4. Next week I'll do a couple of the assignments out of Module 4 so you can see what I'm interested in.